Today we're going to talk about mobile devices, particularly web pages and how they're going to interact with mobile devices. Now you remember the projects folder, and in there we have an index.html page, and on that index.html page we have a form. On the form we have a select box that includes options to things like hello world and lottery and thumbnails and so on, and we have a couple of buttons. They'll either open up a separate page or it'll open up in the current window. But either way, that works fine for a computer, but what about on a handheld device? Then the select box is really too hard to see, and once you click on the select box, then another window pops up here and you have to choose your program there, and it's just not as convenient on a mobile device. So we want to allow for a mobile device different set of menus. How are we going to do that? JavaScript. Now the first thing we need to know about is something called a navigator object. The navigator object contains information about the browser. One of the things you'll see there, one of the properties is user agent. So I want to talk about that because that's the web browser that we're talking about. I could use platform as an example. There are other things I could use, but that's what I'm choosing user agent. Now, in my functions, in my head of the script, I'm going to have a function called agent. And in that, I'm going to just say variable agent equals navigator.userAgent. Notice user agent is with a capital A. And once I've done that, I'm going to return that. That makes that a function that returns a result. And it's just going to return some information about the user agent, that is to say the browser. So down in the body, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some JavaScript there, and I'm going to say document.writeAgent. Now in this case, it's just going to print out whatever the agent information is, and we don't really want to keep that. We're just putting that temporarily so we see what happens. And what you see is in Firefox, it says Mozilla, in this case 5.0, and it has things about Windows NT and Gecko, and the word Firefox is in there. But if I check Internet Explorer, it also says Mozilla 5.0 compatible, and it says all sorts of stuff, .NET things, Media Center, PC, I don't know. They got all sorts of things in here. That's for Internet Explorer. But for a mobile device, like my cell phone, I happen to have an Android, and there you see it says I have a Droid Bionic, and it has the word Android in there. That's important. It also has the word mobile in there. Now, let's take this file that we've been working on, and we're going to change it. We're going to save that file into a new folder. So we're going to take it out of, we're going to leave it in projects, but we're going to take it out of projects, and we're going to create a new folder, and that folder is going to be called M for mobile. And in there, we're going to save this file as index.html. Now to do that, it's going to be a page seen by a mobile device. We're going to make some changes. I said, first thing is, I don't want that web form. I want to have just hyperlinks rather than a web form with buttons. So I've eliminated the web form, I've eliminated the buttons. I also eliminated the select, although I left all the options. And the reason for that is because they're going to prove fairly useful. You see where the word value is? I'm going to change the word value to href. And see where the word option is? I'm going to change the word option to A. So now I have a hyperlink, A href equals hello world. But I've got a little change there. I'm going to have a BR at the end of the line so that it becomes a little list rather than just all slurred together. And because I'm in the M folder, to get at these files, I got to go, my href has to be /projects/the time or lottery or whatever I have for my various list. Now, that's what it's going to look like in a mobile device. So instead of having to click on the select box and then click on something, I can just click on it directly. So it's a little more convenient for a mobile user. Okay, so we know the agent that we have, some information, but from that information we want to be able to determine what kind of device we have. When I say device, I mean there's two possible devices, a computer or a mobile device. So I'm going to begin with the assumption that the device is equal to computer. So I create a variable device equal to computer. And then I go and I get that a variable called A, which is equal to the agent. So it's going to grab that information, that big long string. And then what do I do with that string? Well, to do that we need to learn something new. We need to learn the index of method in JavaScript. And I just Googled that and see an example. It says if you had a string called hello world, welcome to the universe, and a variable n equals string.index of welcome, what it says is the result will be n. N will be 13 because it's taking the position where that string begins. So it says beginning on position 0 for the H, position 1 for the E, and so on down to the position 13 for the W of welcome. And that's how it finds that. So that's an example. Notice the index of method is case sensitive, and if you don't find a match, the method returns -1. So that means if it's 0 or greater, we know we have a match. If it's -1, we don't have a match. So let's go back to this, and we're going to say if A, now that A is that information, that string, A.index of contains the word mobile. If that is greater than or equal to 0, what do we know? We know it's a mobile device, because that means it has the word mobile in it. So I'm going to change the device to be equal to mobile rather than being equal to computer. So it starts out a computer, but if it has the word mobile, it's going to be a mobile. Also, we'll put another line. If it has the word Android, we know it's going to be mobile. If it has the word iPhone, it's going to be mobile. I had to pull out my wife's iPhone to see what that is, and I had to check my iPods to find out what that says. And for that matter, you can check iPad. This information may end up changing over time, but what it comes down to is if it has the word mobile, or the word Android, or the word iPhone, or the word iPod, we know it's a mobile device. Otherwise, we're going to make the assumption it's a computer device. And at the end of that function, we're going to return whatever device it is. So that means the get function returns a result. The result will either be the word computer or the word mobile. Now, in the body, before we get around to our list, let's get a script going here. And the first thing I'm going to test is variable D. I'm going to set it equal to get device. At that point, if you're on this page, which I'm in the M folder, the mobile folder, variable D equals get device, it might say the word computer, it might say the word mobile, I don't know which. But if D is equal to, that's the double equals, comparison equals, if D is equal to computer, then I'm going to run the go to page function, and I'm going to send it to the / projects index.html. So that means I'm in the mobile, the M folder, and if it says the word computer, redirect automatically, go to page, / project. So it's going to go into the index.html page of the projects folder. That's great. But now, remember that functions.js page that we created a while back? Well, think about this. These commands that I'm using right now in the function go to page and function open page and function agent and get device, all those, I'm going to need them in both programs. So why have them in both? Let's have them in the functions.js page. So I'm going to cut them right out of the mobile index.html, and I'm going to paste them right into functions.js. So that way they'll all be there. But of course that means I've got to go back to my index.html in my M folder and say my script now source equals / projects / functions.js. So it's saying in this mobile folder, grab the function.js that's in that other folder, the projects folder, and that way we'll have it. And then we can do variable D equals get device, and if D equals computer, we can go to page, and so on. Otherwise, of course, if it's not equal to computer, what happens? We get a bunch of hyperlinks that we can use. Now, let's go back to the projects folder, and in there, the index.html page. That's the one that has the web form. That's great. But we're going to make some changes here where we had written document.write agent. We didn't really need that. What we're going to do, first of all, is cut out all of my functions, because we can just go and add source equals functions.js. Now in this case I don't have to put any // in front of it, because of course I'm in the same folder here. I'm in the projects folder, same folder that contains functions.js. So I've gotten rid of that script, and I'm going to get rid of my document.write agent, and I'm going to replace that with the same 2 lines I had in the mobile with a little twist. Variable d equals get device, but if d comparison equals the double equal sign, if d equals mobile, then go to page /m/index.html. So no matter which page you go to, it's going to evaluate your device and determine whether you're a computer or mobile device. And they're essentially the same page, except that one will appear on a form with a select box and a button. That's your computer one. And the mobile device will just automatically give you some hyperlinks. So you got 2 ways of looking at this page, which is great.